And a good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the WTRL World Tactical Racing League Team Time Trial Premier League. Throughout the day, there are 9 different zones team time trialing out on Zwift, all organized by the World Tactical Racing League. This is week number 64. They've been doing this for 64 weeks straight. We're out on the sand and sequoias amongst the dinosaurs and the Old West out there today. It's going to be the flats and into a couple of climbs. I'm Nathan Guerra, Dave Towle, and we've got in the Premier League the best 11 teams from each of the zones the last week invited for a challenge against each other and an opportunity to jump on the broadcast. Today, we will be in with, and we heard you, and 3 is the max. We were talking, me and Dave were talking about this prior, and we're in with the Viennas, we're in with the espressos for the fastest of the fastest, and today we're going to jump in with the lattes. Last week we were in the frappes. Next week we'll jump in with the mochas. So, Dave, San Sequoias, we've been on this course, actually, I think twice in the broadcast already. We got some pretty cool course records, and a new team you told us about, actually, in the Viennas, it sounds like.
Yeah, last week it was the Portuguese-based team, not entirely Portuguese, but that's what you'd call it their virtual home. They made a change to Team TEP from what was formerly PTZ. So we've noted that. There's also, Nathan, having a laugh about the Aero Unicorns are a new team. And so 2 of our Socks for Watts teams are in the Premier League now. So this is what I love about the Premier League, as you were just alluding to, the fact that you have to hold on to your spot here. And I was looking, Nathan, and we'll have a chance to preview the course records out here, but this is as classic as they get for team time trial courses. Nathan, this one throws the kitchen, everything and the kitchen sink at you.
Yeah, right into the flats, and then you got a couple. The climb, though, you can get a lot of drafting on as we jump into the racing here with Cryogen here in the latte crew. But, I think that this course, as you can see, they start out on essentially what is the pancake flat situation on the Fuego Flats. And then as they head over through the Oasis, it's a little bit of 2% uphill gradient. And then they do hit the climbs, the KOM. But the KOM, I mean, it's really the main climb is leaving Fuego Flats out there, and then they do head on into the Titans Grove. The Sequoias section of sand and sequoias. We're on the sand section of sand and sequoias, and then Titans Grove is where we hit the dinosaurs as well as all the sequoias and a couple of undulations, but really, I think it's on average like a 2% gradient maybe or something along those lines, so it's not very steep at any point. So you do get an advantage of drafting. Now, there is a reality here with team time trialing, though, for those that might be new to this. Like, wait, Zwift, team time trialing, drafting in game, and look at how they're slotting in behind each other here. Very well organized team. We can see here with Try Again. Yeah. Magpies.
Yeah,
we're in with the Magpies.
They just want to make sure they've got all the bags on board before they leave the station, I would say, and they've made that check now. This is going to be a good ride today from one of the many Cryogen teams out here. I see coming in from our man Martin at headquarters there that the splits are coming in today at 10K. 20K, so that 10K, we're basically hitting the end of the flat section. 20K, we're going to be going up and over Titans Grove, another 30K checkpoint, and out there today. So we'll have a lot of information from all of our different categories. Nice to welcome in the latte folks today and getting our first look then at what that leaderboard is going to be looking out there today for all of our categories. Nathan, there is a Cryogen Penguins team already. I thought I was being funny. Yes, last week.
Yeah, we got
a WTRL broadcast.
I actually got a graphic last week that showed all of these bird names. So it's pretty awesome how many different.
Yeah, they got all the varieties of the species of birds are pretty much covered. It just speaks to the phenomenon. Let's really quickly, Nathan, touch on a couple of the points here. They're racing for 43K. As you can see, it's 2 laps out here on sand and sequoias. The time taken off your 4th rider's wheel. That's the name of the game here. This is a team time trial effort. Nathan, I feel by the 64th week that we're doing this, we still have folks who are joining us for the first time. So welcome. If you haven't seen this before, I'll have to ask Martin today, or Steven, our 2 guys at headquarters there. But usually we're at about 3,500 riders, over 600 teams. Nathan, this is one of the bright lights in the world of cycling. It's a phenomenon going on right now with the WTRL.
That's a great point. We been racing out and riding out on Zwift for so long that sometimes I almost, we start seeing these huge numbers in these events and almost take it for granted as what a phenomenon, what that this kind of is. Like,
Yeah,
where else do you get on a weekly basis this many people participating in the same event in the world of cycling?
I can't.
Like, does
I can't
that
think of too
exist
many.
anywhere else?
Let's talk even other sports like rowing or cross country skiing or running. I mean, yeah, is there a virtual 5K, a weekly virtual 5K that gets 300 people running? I doubt it. I really doubt it. But, Nathan, I also wanted to shout out our in house teams. We both have a tremendous number of friends that work at Zwift. Great people. I have so much love for Zwift. And there's teams now that have come together. They're racing right now in Long Beach and in London. I might even be unaware of some other new Zwift teams, but want to give a shout out to the men and women that are out there making it happen today on basically their lunch hour. It's a 43K effort. It's going to be pretty close to an hour out there when you add in the warming up and everything, Nathan. So in the early going here, just wanted to share some love to all of the riders out there. So I just saw from Martin, of course, you make that call, 3,300 expected today. This is in the middle of the summer, Nathan. If I had told you that in July we would get well over 3,000, north of 3,300 riders showing up, I can't imagine you would have believed me.
Yeah, 3,300 in the middle of July on a virtual platform. Pretty amazing.
And this is
Very
routine.
cool.
This is
Yeah.
routine, buddy. I mean,
And I think the max that we've seen from this was around 6,000 some. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing what these
we'll
guys
get.
have done.
I predict that we see 10,000 people
Woo!
racing over 1,000 teams, well over 1,000 teams. To get to that number, you'd have to be looking at like 1,200. I bet we're there because you know what's happened. I look at Socks for Watts as a great example. That team has so much vibe they couldn't fit it in one team anymore. I mean, there's so much love there. They had to make a second team now to race in the Premier League. When you talk about Socks for Watts, that's one of the great stories. Are the Choppers back this week, Nathan? Because they're the course record holders out here.
Yeah, we have to take
I
a look
saw
at those
earlier.
course records here real quick, and then we're going to jump around a little bit as we do have a couple of more of our riders getting out on course from some of the other categories here real quick. But here are the course records. Choppers there, it looks like with a 1:01:33, and then it's going to be Volendam there
down
with the 53. It looks like 57 Viking Fenrir. It's going to be Dirty Rascals do, and then it's going to be Eat Dirt Choice. Those are the current standing course records, I believe, for this San Sequoia's 2 laps, 42.8. Long day in the saddle here, over an hour. Not often you see that here on the Team Time Trial.
Nathan, I turn to your expertise. This has to be the longest course we race on, correct? I don't think I haven't seen in my rotation, but I'm a short shifter here. But I definitely would say an hour. Again, though, remember that with 4 riders, when this was a world championship in Olympic discipline, 4 riders would race for 100K. And it wasn't until really the 80s that they started going under 2 hours. So, I mean, yeah, think about that. All out effort, 4 guys or women. It was only men, though. Actually, the Olympic movement wasn't woke at that point. They work on that. But taking a look at these times, Nathan, I think you're going to see every one of those records fall. Just the sophistication, it's not tactics, it's more strategy when you talk about what you're doing out here. Look at this. I mean, like what the Cryogen team is doing here is we're following Aslan now. That's how you do it. Poetry in motion, guys.
Looking over at the Celtic Queens, though, they've been a weekly, perennial at this point. Every week they've been showing up. They've been earning their spot. It looks like they may have been at risk, though. It's been right on the line, I think, with the Celtic Queens because they have been on that 1 or 2 spot for the starting list, and so that is always just kind of getting in right on the cusp of those best times. So good to see that they're back out here this week. They've been the first on the Viennas to go out 5.3 into their race. Again, we'll start getting splits in at the 10-kilometer mark, then 20, and then 30 again. So 37.7 to go for the Celtic Queens out here today.
Has any team, Nathan, been more welcoming or inclusive than this squad when you talk about the Celtic Queens? They've also just done a tremendous job. It's not entirely Irish riders, but man, it's mostly Irish riders, to tell you the truth. That flag that you see there in Northern Ireland, that's one of the things I've also learned a lot about, Nathan. Flags. because this is such an international experience that we have. Every now and then we get caught out. I won't lie. I think there's like 210 nations in the world recognized by the UN, maybe 218, something like that. But I'm going to guess that we have, week in, week out, more than 100 nations racing with us out here. You got to remember, too, this is the Premier League, but there are time zones that go around the globe throughout the day. That's why Martin and Steven don't sleep for like a 36-hour period.
Yes, they start on Tuesday and they go to sleep on Friday, I think. So
a lot of coffee.
Now we do have a lot of comments coming on in, and we always appreciate all the comments. Everybody, keep them rolling. We're watching the Twitch, the Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter. And go ahead and bring those images in all as well over at Twitter. We are seeing Sarah Duffy saying, "Go count the queens." Dick Martino is saying, "Hi, let's see. The Dirt Digglers is still top after this zone." And so, yeah, I think that is going to be. I'm actually Stuart Featherstone, who yesterday was talking to us about him being your favorite. Yeah, he's supposed to be your favorite.
That's the greatest name I've ever heard. That's the greatest name for a cyclist that you could possibly come up with.
Featherstone. That is actually.
It's got the stone element of being tough like a rock and feather like light. That's Stuart. You're my man.
And then Pete Butler, also a great supporter of the all things ZCL. Good to see you out there, Pete, and a part of the Dirt household in some ways, and saying that they absolutely rocked it this morning. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at what the current standings are after this morning. As just again, everybody, zones throughout the entire day. These update as the results come in. There are multiple zones running right now. I was looking at it before the broadcast started, and we were saying, look, there's a zone that's starting in 5 minutes, there's one starting in 10 minutes, then there's the Premier League, then there's a zone starting in 15 minutes after that, like crazy amounts. So we got a lot going on at one time.
It's like you missed the train. There's one in 5 minutes, there's one in 10 minutes, there's one in half an hour. It's amazing. I just saw Grace.
Martin's like, no, registration closes on Tuesday. He's like, no, registration closes anyway. But Live by Cycling, they always tend to dominate that zone one. We've always seen that by Live by Cycling Free, and I think they're like, oh, just hold on, please, in the Viennas here. But LRF then ladies followed up by Evo Stars. That's for the Vienna coming through so far this morning. For our results, Dirt Diggler there with a 57.05. Wow. Evo Warriors there, 58.12 we're seeing, and then a 58.40 is your top three so far for the Espresso. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, Nathan, we should probably quickly explain the classes here, as well as it's not your typical breakdown that you'd see on a day in, day out on Zwift. They do it a little bit differently with WTRL. So you see, we use what we call the coffee categories. And Nathan, you mentioned earlier that I made the joke that when you try to please everybody, you please no one. That's something that you kind of learn with broadcasting. And so what we're trying to do, and I have to give credit, it's all Nathan, actually, who makes these huge efforts with the doing the producing of this show. And so today we want to highlight the latte class, and we'll try to rotate, right, Nathan? That's the plan, that we'll maybe move around and try to give every class some love and highlight you, because again, with 3,300 racers out here, some people stand out. I was just seeing Grace Smith's name. She's one rider that we really know, but I want to make sure that all the Grace Smiths out there, the people that are doing a little bit more, that you get to hear your shout out too. So trying to spread the love out, but if you water it down too much, no one gets a taste.
That's right, and you definitely end up just kind of moving around all day long without actually saying much of anything. But
exactly.
The ZHQ Ravens here in the frappes then are holding it down at the top. It looks like that's a really fast frappe time, actually, 58.04. They were flying in zone one. We'll see if they can hold on to that, though, as the frappes are out on course now in this Premier League. I have a feeling they're going to jump into the Premier League for next week here. R33. 105.15. This looks like it was a close morning. Evo Warlords and then Z-Sun or Orion there. 105.45. Cryogen Kestrels and then Valhalla Guerra. And then we are seeing in the Mochas this morning, we got a 108.24 there coming in from Eat Troy's. Team Type 1 Hypers, Cryogen Herons, and then Eat Dirt Ochos. So that is the results so far before these next zones have gotten out on course.
Eat Dirt uses so many different varieties. They're sometimes in French, sometimes in Spanish. They keep it fun too. Again, so international out here as we pick up the Celtic Queens. So one of the first teams to start, and we're going to be getting a check from them at 10K. That'll be interesting to see. They'll set a benchmark time out there as we go back now. We're picking up Bradfield. I mean, again, Nathan, you can see I use the word sophistication, but these teams have gotten so much better at staying organized. It's really much more challenging than it would look. I mean, actually, these guys are making it look easy, aren't they? When you look at Nathan out there, how yeah, I'd say 2 months ago when I really started watching WTRL every week, maybe 3 months ago, when you would jump in with a new team, they half the time they would be all over the shop. You know what I'm saying? You'd have two drop riders, one rider a quarter mile up the road. The whole thing was just chaos, but not anymore. It's pretty rare that you see that. Teams do a great job of communicating, and this is just sweet to look at right here.
We're actually seeing Army
Great
cycling
work.
here with now is this is interesting to see here. Is this gonna be the new Socks for Watts team? Because I think the names have not been changed here, but I think Bexy was riding
The Aero
for
Unicorns?
you think this
Let's
may be the
see.
Aero Unicorns? Not positive here. Payne trains in their PRTF Hall we're seeing Taylor, but then it's gonna be Galauska. Socks for Watts there is in the name. K Amps is in there as well from the PRT. So interesting to see.
Bexy Dew is a rider that we're just starting to get to know, a talent. I'm looking to see. I think you're right, to tell you the truth, Nathan.
Yeah,
Or
I think
so
it would.
Socks for What's
I
Aero
have a feeling this
Unicorns.
may be. This may be. I'm going to double check though some of the start list here for
There's
the
some
Aero
cross-referencing
Unicorns.
here.
But I have a feeling that
It's a new
yep, yeah,
team.
this is most definitely Bexy Do. I'm seeing it in the name now. Socks for Watts, Aero Unicorns. It's over on Zwift Power, and is there going to be a challenge here? I mean, this is interesting to
Wow.
see. Like they started in here, jumped into the Premier League. They were at that 3.0 spot, so their time from last week must have been wasn't a top spot. It was about 7th overall or so, 7th or 8th overall. It looks like they are catching immediately this TTT team. So interesting to see this as they go
Yeah,
flying
so
by
for a
here.
new
So
team, there's a top 3 ride, Nathan, at worst, I'm going to say.
well, we'll have to see. I mean, there's a lot of other
That's a quick
starters out
catch.
there. Team Infinite Saris has still getting out
Sisu.
on course. Socks for Watts. Sisu had a rough time
Yep.
last week. It looked like a little bit. They brought it back, and we'll see if Sisu can make a challenge. We've been saying, is Sisu gonna challenge that top Socks for Watts team out there or not?
Perennial contenders.
Definitely,
Yeah, and they don't fall outside the top 3. That's
and
for
then
sure.
all of a sudden,
Infinite
Team
Saris
Infinite
as well.
Saris though shows up and
Yep.
starts kicking butt though in the last couple of
Yeah.
weeks as well. So
Well-
definitely been challenging in the Vienna Premier League as these ladies are absolutely flying.
The Queens of Pain have been Socks for Watts without any. I mean, what Nathan? If you go back again a few months ago, it was choppers, right? And then Socks for Watts. When they took the top of the hill, these ladies have not relinquished. They have had an iron grip on. Basically, as far as team time trialing goes, this is the squad. Well, actually, when I'm talking about Socks for Watts, and we'll be seeing them as they were the final team to start. I mean, they come in. I used to say they were the gold standard, but they're not. They're the platinum standard. They're a level above that. And I'm going to be interested to see how they back that up here this week.
Aero
Claire Good is
Unicorns.
flying right now.
14:17, Dave. So 15:06, almost a minute faster than the
So-
total try training. So we've got a new. Maybe a new standard that's being set here, though, by the Aero Unicorns, the Socks for Watts secondary team. So we'll have to see how this ends up playing out. They may have
you
created
imagine?
a challenge for themselves.
If the Aero Unicorns are able to take the top step, that will be a stunner. Just when you look at what they would have to overcome. But boy, we got us again, Nathan. This is my favorite hour of the week. What they do here on WTRL. Yeah, things are always evolving. The top squads, they don't stay there forever. It's really. I mean, when you look at it, getting 8 people to commit. That's like the reason why you see so few kids playing baseball anymore is because it takes 18 people to do it. That's an insane number of people to get together. Trying to get 8 people on the same page just to to do a team time trial effort is one thing. To get 8 world-class athletes together who can do it and put the egos aside out here. And again, we should shout out Charlotte Backus on that team as well. When you talk for Socks for Watts, there's something about community on Zwift, and there's something about where the people that have made the most of this COVID-19 lockdown period, those that have embraced friendships and recognizing you might not get to be with people in person, but you can still find that, one of the best things about friends, Nathan, in the world of cycling is they keep you accountable. If you say, I'm going to meet you at 9 tomorrow for a ride, don't you feel like you pretty much have to? You know what I'm saying?
I was not going to show up to the group ride last night, but then I knew people were expecting me, so there's just a reality.
Yeah, and you would have let them down. You would have let them down, right? And then let yourself down.
And then we suffered.
Good for you, buddy.
And then we suffered. So Onyx Black here, as you can see, 12:18. Who is Onyx Black? What is going on here? This is a whole different situation going on here. TEP
sounds like a crime syndicate. Doesn't it? Crime syndicate type name. Like, oh my God, the Onyx Black people, they're, out of Europe.
And TEP with the 12:27 here. This is crazy fast, it looks like. So Onyx Black, the number one team at the 10K mark.
All right.
So we'll see if we can find these guys.
That sends me to Zwift Power.
Here they are right here. Our Todd. This is the team, as you can see here. Marriott's there as well.
4
Chaplin,
guys.
4 guys. Here's the thing. Did they go out too hot is the question.
Well,
on the flatter section.
Hot.
At 10K, we're going to have to see if they can hold on to this kind of a pace, though, all the way to the line. As Chaplin here, 172 beats per minute right now as they come through these climbs. And also the other thing is that some of the riders may be saving it for the KOM sections. That may be the section they really want to put the pressure on to get the most time. TEP, though, dominated last week. So interesting to see how this is playing out here as Onyx Black, a new team on my radar.
This is where I would say don't read too much into that first check because it was flat for that all the way through the first 10K. There was it was pancake flat. You're out in Fuego Flats. So Team TEP here. I have a feeling the next split. Well, you know what? I hate to predict, but 4 guys. Remember with the World Rowing team last week, they were in a similar situation. 4 guys, 4 strong guys. But this is even longer day out here. 43K, significant amount of vertical gain. Nathan made a really good point. There's no brutal climb out here. You're not going up the Zwift, but you are going to see some extended time in uphill phase. 3%. 2-3%, which is really challenging when you're trying to make this supreme effort out here. Nathan, these guys are up against it. This is going to be really interesting. Can 4 guys win out here today? Remembering that some teams still have 8 strong riders rotating through. Well, it's a massive challenge.
On a longer day like this, too, I think there is a reality. They got to really bring as much time in as they possibly can early on, perhaps, because some of these other teams that have just more batteries to burn, they're just going to have more matches to burn out here, and later on in the race, they're going to have riders that can sit and that have been sitting in a little bit longer, not having to take quite as many pulls with only 4 riders. You get into a pace line and you go through on the front, and then you come back, and next thing you know, it's your turn again.
You don't have any time to recover.
There's no time. No, it's just your turn again. It's your turn again. It's your turn again. So I think it's going to be a tough day.
That's really well put. When you can distribute that time on the front amongst 8 different guys, and then typically, Nathan, the stronger riders will take maybe double pulls. That would be pretty standard for the strongest guy on an 8-rider team to take at least longer pulls, duration-wise, but not going faster here. Yeah. Anyways, one thing I would say is I love the spirit of racing here, and if you don't know if you don't try. And Onyx Black, we didn't see. Maybe they lost some riders early on out there. But bold proposition. Looks like we got a couple teams cross-pollinating out there again.
No, this is disorganization.
What have we got here?
This is disorganization from the new unicorns, the Aero Unicorns here. They got the best
new
time
team
on course right now, but Cryogens are taking over.
Exchange on a 3% grade.
1 second. Look at that. Cryogen Swans, though, 14-16, solid effort there coming from the Swans as they take over that top spot now at the 10K mark. Their Team Sisu 14-30 now, but a little bit disorganization. It looks like Pain Train, Faber, and Hall made it a little bit too much of a pain train. Bexy do fell off even out there, and it looks like Sox, Watts, Taylor, as well as Amps and a few others still trying to get it back on terms.
Yeah, Nathan, when you hit that beginning part of these climbs, the riders, they've been doing some monster pulls on the front. All of a sudden, the climb hits, other riders feel good, and they surge a little bit, and then that's what you've got is maximum chaos. So they're getting back together.
That is a technical term in Zwifting for sure. Maximum chaos is what you have at those points. And the Discord channel is blowing up. What's funny is for those of you that are unfamiliar with the world of gaming and Discord channels and different things like that, there's some crazy recordings out there of what are
I bet
blown up disorganization from like World of Warcraft and things like that where the leader's like, what are you doing? And like I could see like in this situation where we could get some awesome Zwift recordings like that about like, you're doing it wrong, like no, get back. They're probably all a lot nicer actually than but I mean definitely gonna have some, hey, what's going on? I mean, I heard Team Finesse getting a little mad in-house because getting pulled back in a few weeks back in the USA Cycling Series. One of their guys was sitting in the chase group, and off the front goes a couple of Finesse boys. They get a gap, and the next thing you know, their teammate was pulling at 5 watts per kilogram. And they're like, the guy's not in Discord. He's not even listening to us. He doesn't even know what's going on. So they're definitely communicating is what all of that was to be saying. They're definitely communicating about getting this back together.
I would have loved to have heard the Joe Martin stage race, stage 2 Discord conversations as all that chaos rolling out of the start area that day. That's one of the things that this is why this racing is becoming so popular so quickly is there is the human element behind this and confusion and organization. All these things come into play. We had a team time trial event because of WTRL. The popularity of these team time trials is really going to grow. Cracking the code on how you run a race with this format was quite a challenge. Zwift was never designed around doing team time trials out here, and basically, the crew at WTRL has just hacked this out of the world, and you can see it's quite a refined process as we pick up the Magpies now, another one of the cryogen teams. Let's see here. Looking at the fastest
they actually went
there,
out
7
first,
seconds.
so we've been on them. We've been on this view of them from the get-go because they went out first, and you don't usually see the team that has that one spot, as they're seated at number 1
lowest
to go out.
Team.
The lowest seeded team has the best time at 10K. So interesting to see. Great ride from the Magpies this week from Team Crouch, and TTC now taking over at 14:27, actually tied up with the Cryogen Ospreys. Now at the time of 30:17, as you see them come through at the lap almost here with the Magpies, though.
Nathan, if you were to sit out, I guess this is Martin, turn your ears on there. If you were to sit out a week of WTRL for whatever reason, I mean, life happens. Let's say the Magpies didn't race last week, but then come back. They would have to re-earn their seed position. I'm wondering how that would work because, I mean, this is a strong team. So having them seeded as the first team out, again, the lowest expectations, but the highest.
Is off. I think Martin's microphone's off. He's out. There we go. Martin, you can answer the question. Martin, what's the answer to that question?
So yeah, if a team qualifies for Premier League or doesn't show up or doesn't re-qualify, they have to go back and start again. It's always the top 11 who are invited in each week. So if you fall out of the top 11, you've got to work to get back in. If you don't show up, you've got to start again.
Thanks,
You're only as good as your last race.
That's Martin Crew from WTRL and giving us the inside info. So always as good as your last race. It's a good point there,
Thanks,
Dave.
Martin.
As you can hear the notifications coming through in the background. Da-ding, da-ding, da-ding. As he's running all things WTRL as all the zones are going at the same time. So the Magpies here.
Martin,
look at GTC, though, taking over that top spot here. 29:31. 45 seconds, actually. So they're falling. Now, see, we've seen this on this course. I think this course, there's a tendency, let's remember this for future times on this course, going out too hard on the flats can really bite you on the back end, it seems like.
Couldn't agree more, Nathan. It baits you into it, especially if you're a team that, well, and I'm going to leave that alone because let's just jump in there now. Is we're going to see some interesting splits coming through. It's going to be a long day in the saddle out here as well. As at 20K now, you can see it first team to crack that 30-minute barrier. It's going to be the BRT Chasers in at third right now, just 1 second back from the Magpies here. We're going to start stacking it up like cordwood right now here, right in that 30 minutes and a little bit of change, Nathan. But remember, Kirkmeyer E-Cycling, Red Peloton, the Team Type 1 Lancettes, they're all going to be looking to, and Kirkmeyer E-Cycling has 2 teams out here, 1 and 2, that are going to be in the mix. So taking a look at the Latte group, getting a good look at the Latte group out here today.
You know, one thing I definitely want to mention as well is that the back end of the Santa Sequoia's KOM, the downhill, has so much speed that can be gained if you ride it correctly. If you come through with good little punches, it's a very undulating, you know, you have that sharp kick at 8% at one point, and you can really gain a lot of time actually on the downhill if you ride it correctly. If you get disorganized, though, and you don't kind of, you know, when you're outside in a group ride and like somebody surges through at the front end of a downhill and they increase the speed by 3 miles per hour, and then everybody hits the flat. You got to
follow through.
Exactly. And then when you hit the flat, they follow through and they can hold on to that extra speed for quite a long time if everybody rotates through with the energy that they gain. Something similar definitely happens on Zwift too. And if you're organized enough, you can gain a solid 30 seconds, I think, on that back end done correctly.
Yeah, it's really a quick rotation on the front. You just get up there, you punch through, and then the next guy has to follow. And if you can keep doing that, you do what Nathan said and just keep that moment. It's a beautiful thing when you're with a group that can do that. That's high level. That's advanced level racing, and that's what it's going to take to win at the WT.
2 seconds here. Sorry, Dave, but we just.
Hey, no problem. No, I'm with you. The Lancettes there.
Yeah, nice time.
So really close. Yeah, just a 2-second difference there between GTCA and TT1 Lancettes.
Let's see if we can find.
Do you know what a Lancette is, Nathan? Have you ever heard
to do with
that?
Swords. I don't know. Is it swords?
Well, close. Well, in this case, it's that thing that a person who's diabetic uses to poke their finger to get the blood for the glucose
Gotcha.
monitoring.
Well, it's not.
Right.
Is it only for that though?
I think Lancette is. That's what they call it. Anyways.
That's the only thing. I think it's all. I think
you're right,
it's a sharp utensil. They are a surgical sharp utensil. I think is probably the. We'll have to wait and see.
I would agree.
Chat's definitely going to be correcting us at any moment right now. I think this is what a Lancette is. We got all the doctors and the nurses in house. Thank you, by the way, to all of you. But I mean, you guys are totally off.
My point was that's the joke for Team Type 1, right? They must all be diabetic.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Right.
Nathan, way over the joke.
No, you're with it.
Over my head. No, it went way over my head. That was so far over my head. Well done, though.
I'm doing some deep analyzing. No, it's not that deep, believe me. But anyways, thanks for bearing with us out there, folks, because you're right. A knight would have a lance. That's what one of his sword-like things. So anyways, back to the racing here. There's a team that looks like they know what they're doing. Team Type 1 here.
I believe this
is not the Lancettes, though.
Is it?
Or is it?
I don't think we have another Team Type 1 in the Lattes.
Oh, you know what they're doing? I think this is smart. They're identifying themselves by different rider letters in the team. So this is Team Type 1, the Lancettes. And see how you'll see D, F, E. So I think each rider just took a letter, and I can appreciate where they're coming from.
Interesting.
I might be wrong.
Interesting to see here.
But that might help us know who's who.
Anyways.
Maybe that's a way they're...
Still, solid time, though. 29-29. They've got it by 2 seconds over GTC at this point. And then there's a big gap all the way back to the Cryogen Magpies, BRT Chasers, and then Cryogen Ospreys. So Kirchner E-Cycling, they're coming through with the 31. We still got 4 more teams to come through, ODZ as well as Team TFC, Kirchner E-Cycling, and Red Peloton. But solid time so far for your top 6, spread out by about a minute and a half or so.
Out on lap 2 right now here. So they're motoring their way through what's a minimum an hour out here for just about all of our riders. It's a long day in the saddle. This is one of the first ones
to go to as well were the Lattes. So they're going to be pretty far ahead. They are being caught by a few of the other little bit faster classes out there, as we are going to jump in with some of the first starters here from the Espressos, as we haven't been with them too much so far through the broadcast. So Espressos here, let's take a quick look at where things are standing with them. currently with TEP have brought it back. What happened? Onyx, we said they might have gone out too hot, and that's exactly what we are seeing here. They went out screaming hot here, but now it's time to cool right on down as Onyx here are back to 4th place with a 25-29 at the 20K mark, actually. They came through with that fastest time and now been overtaken by almost 15 seconds here by TEP, Cards and Vultures, Team ODZ are all in their top 3 at this point. And the spread, though, again, it's only a minute and 1 second, Dave.
Wow. Yeah. Really tightly packed in there. One thing about bike racing is whenever you think you might be getting away with something, you get served a reality sandwich. And that's for Onyx Black, as we're watching right now. 4 guys out here. As we said, most teams starting with 8. And if you get down to the last 10K and you still have 6, that's probably about the norm, I would say. And time taken off of your 4th rider to finish. That's the crunch out there, is that you want to keep as many useful riders with you. But if someone is struggling and they're outside of that top 4, sometimes you just have to say goodbye. But if you're saying goodbye to your 4th rider, you're not doing yourself any favor. And it's a fine line out there for the riders that are feeling good, rolling along well, how you nurse along a rider that might be struggling, because there you go, getting 4 back together here as we pick up the EBG team.
Yeah, David
Maybe
Fellows, as
Latte
well
that
as
we're-
Kit Buchanan, Stuart Jameson's on here. We're seeing Eugene Cross as well on this EBG team, and they actually are a newer team. They're using this yellow. I like the yellow kit that they're riding with here. Pretty cool little bumblebee kit. EBG with a solid time so far. We're seeing they were starting in that 2.0 spot though, so they're holding down what you'd expect from them. With the only 45, again, such a close class here with the Espressos, so incredibly fast. For those who are wondering, real quickly, again, the Espresso, this is the fastest class for the mixed / usually it's all men in the Espressos. This would be your A category or Espresso fastest amongst the men. The Vienna is the fastest with women only. TEP currently leading this out. EBG, though, good to see them out here. Newer team from what I can see out there. It does look like they are mainly from a team called, that's not in the WTRL, the Solihull CC. I don't know, I probably murdered that name here. Zwift Race Team Riders, actually. Over on Zwift Power, I'm checking that out here. So good to see. They are members or friends of the Solihull Cycling Club who want to race on Zwift, actually, it sounds like. Used to have been racing and training with BC on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It sounds every Wednesday there is a West Mids Interclub series. Pretty cool to see. I love the in real life thing that you
British.
can bring together. Yeah, I think that. Well, look at the flags. I mean, you got definitely very British.
Yeah.
They have 2
the
vets
home of-
actually. They have 2 vets, TTT teams who race on Thursdays as well. So pretty cool to see that they've made it into this top Premier League now.
Yeah, so this is, for everybody joining us who aren't familiar, this is the Premier League, the top 11 teams in all of our different coffee categories. Basically, think of the levels like A, B, C, and D, but Vienna, as Nathan just mentioned, the stand. Now, this is not what we're looking for right now. Let's see if we can dissect this situation here. Again, getting it back together pretty quickly. Again, an hour staying on point, just a momentary lapse of attention, Nathan, and you find yourself letting a gap open up. That was actually a pretty good recovery right there. All things considered, when you only spend about, 15 seconds dangling out in the wind out there, it's not so bad. So, I've seen worse.
Real quick,
We've seen worse.
This is some great information coming through about the Team Type 1 here. The D and the F in Team Type 1 team is for diabetic and family, as in if riders has diabetics or someone in their family. That is a great comment coming on through. Thank you so much there, Greg Schroeder, over on the Facebook post.
Nathan, Greg Schroeder gets internet guy of the day, right? Nicely answering our question without making us, I mean, I took a guess, right? I took a stab in the dark, and it was nowhere close to correct. So instead of making me feel bad,
Dave's like kind of sneaking in a correction in there himself, it sounds like. All right, Ram, let's jump in with the Ram Raiders here. As where are they at? Sitting at 9th place currently. Need to make up some time here. We do have some times coming on through at the 30K. Onyx now coming on through, but they're not going to hold on to that spot, I don't think, as they come on through with the 38.26, 30K down so far for Onyx, though.
Again, once you start populating, just to help everybody who's watching, once you start populating that third checkpoint, obviously, one thing, though, Onyx obviously hasn't been passed out there. They've been able to hold off the team that was chasing. It's still a really solid time, but we're going to start looking for...
Onyx actually
Nathan,
passed
TEP.
Evo, I believe. I think they actually passed Evo because Evo has the 1.0 in their name. So they went out first, and Onyx went out second.
I'm just looking to see how close this is here. Well, so it is going to be TEP, I'm expecting, with that 25.16 at 20K. Yeah, they're 2 seconds faster than the Vulture. It's Cryogen, right? Or 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's a close race between Cryogens currently and TEP.
And then
Team
you still got ODZ.
ODZ, they're not out of the not out of the woodwork. That's
not
for
at
sure.
all. Only 11 seconds back with this much racing ahead of them. And
Ooh,
again, that's a little stale right now.
This is a
they
pretty
are
big
motoring.
team here with ODZ. They brought the whole
They're
team.
mobbing.
And look who's in
Yeah.
here. Andy Turner. We're seeing Cunningham. We're seeing Mike Schwartz. I mean, Turner dominating some of the series as of recently. I believe they won the 3R series just a few weeks back.
Oh, these guys are in the hunt. They look like a pack of wolves, don't
Look
they?
at TEP, 58 seconds. This is the knife's edge.
Defending champs.
Right?
Yep.
57
Yep.
seconds. They're watching that 1 minute time gap here at this point, just trying to hold on or extend through these flatter sections.
On any given week, and again, for WTRL, this is week number 64. You never know what category is going to deliver the best race of the day. But, Nathan, I think we might have found it right here. This one is going to be an absolute Donnybrook when you look at it. Now, again, this is a new team name, but not a new team. That changed from PTC here to TEP. Mostly Portuguese. Well, let's see here. We're going to get a good feel for the nationalities. One thing, though, this is one of the top teams, no doubt about it. As our defending champions, they are going up against quite a challenge out here. ODZ, Nathan, looked like they were bearing down on it here. We're going to have quite a a total distance today of 43 kilometers. You can see that these guys are about 2/3 of the way through. I can't wait. This is going to be really, really close. The new checks coming in. Onyx Black still holding on.
They're doing good. They're doing a great job. Looks like they
all in
ramped
all,
it up again.
heck yeah.
They definitely ramped it up a little bit again here. Now, looking at the Cryogen Vultures, they actually started 6th seed on the day. So interesting to see their starting spot and what kind of times they're pulling off here, because they were, I think, holding down that second place as they came through ahead of Team ODZ. So that top three, it looks like it's going to be quite the battle. It's going to be all about that KOM, I think, and how they ride the back end of the KOM on that downhill with those little punchers. So TEP, ODZ, and the Cryogen Vultures, I think, are your top three. We may have a little bit of an upset, though, as the times come on through. Vultures there with the 37.55 as you see them come through at the 30K mark just now.
A lot of factors when you look at the algorithm here. But, Nathan, what's your opinion here on this mob style versus the straight single line? Either technique, I think it's really both work pretty well. If you're in a
I think mob style. I think that if you got enough bodies and you can get more rest and you can really find a spot in
create
that
a little
pack,
bigger draft.
Yeah, I think, and a little more room to work with. So if you got enough bodies, I think creating that more bunched up a little bit with 1 or 2 riders toward the front and then come on through with that extra power that you're able to find from that. So definitely a little bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, versus, so I would tend to agree, but Nathan, I absolutely will acquiesce and say you know better, but versus the complete single line, which looks so beautiful, doesn't it? That formation where everyone is just locked onto the wheel in front of them, but it isn't what necessarily, as Nathan says, that mob style that we just witnessed there, probably faster when it's all said and done. We're going to find out. We're going to be looking now, socks for watts. Here you go. They're on another command performance. I mean, no doubt about it. Nathan, let's take a look when you have a chance here at Socks for Watts. Again, we've covered this team extensively. This is Charlotte Backus, Lizzie Duncombe. That's Claire Good. We're getting to know this team really, really well when you talk about that 2740. This is the standard that they set week in, week out. The Swans from Cryogen are at Again, this is the 20K checkpoint. The women out on course relatively late in the day, wherever you are. But Cryogen in at second. Sisu, as anticipated. That's the bike race right there, Nathan. It's only 6 seconds, it looks like, between Sisu and the Swans. Maybe a little more than that. I think it just changed in front of me. That's 9 seconds.
Yeah, 9 seconds
right
between them. But that's
and
still
then,
really, really close race here at this point.
And then another battle going on between Socks for Watts Aero Unicorns, the new Socks for Watts team, against Z-Sun and the Hypernovas. They're looking at what could go back and forth for 4th and 5th out there. All right, Battle Royale underway. Kelsey Winthrop. Good to see Kelsey back with the squad. Another one of the world-class triathletes on this team out of coastal California.
Real
Kelsey
quick
Winthrop
shout out for
is a
Kelsey. I'm
lifestyle.
not sure if she got her Instagram back, but her Instagram was hacked. She had a huge following, actually. Huge following. And her account got hacked, stolen, and then deleted. And she had put huge amount of time in growing that following. So get out there and follow Kelsey. Throw her a follow because she deserves it. She puts out great content. Top 70.3 triathlete, absolutely. She's won some huge races, actually. World class. Go check her out. Does some great content almost on the daily. So Kelsey Withrow, Socks for Watts here.
This team is so good, right, that we feature these athletes. There's Claire Good popping up now. Nathan, we feature these athletes so much that, I just want to make sure to follow up on what you said. Whoever did that to Kelsey, that is terrible. I can't, because she works hard to build up that following. And almost all of these women, I can't say all of them, Nathan, but they coach. And you would be able to find them on the internet. And I would have to say we vouch for all of them. They're really terrific people and bring a high level of knowledge and motivation. And I don't think you'd be disappointed. I know Charlotte Backus just started up her own coaching or working with some friends of hers there in Utah. But believe me, these women have got it going on, no doubt about it. And they back it up with these performances out here week after week. And Nathan, one thing I've learned is it's the consistency. So there's a lot of talented athletes out there. There's a lot of people with big dreams. But it's those that have both of that and then are willing to work every damn day. And that's what these women do.
Yeah, that is for sure. Now, as we look at the times coming on through here, 42:59 from the new Socks for Watts Aero Unicorns. Socks for Watts, we're looking at here the main team, or the first of the Socks for Watts team, as you can see here, as they're saying a big thanks, hashtag thanks WTRL. We see them posting every week, absolutely loving this. And they have been steamrolling this, as you would say.
Yeah.
They have absolutely been flying out here.
They're using mob style.
2740. 2740 was what they came through with. But we are seeing that 42:59. We'll have to see what the other teams can start to challenge that. Now, as they still got about a half a lap to go, let's go ahead and make sure we jump back in with the lattes, because some of our front-end latte crew is just about to finish up their race. And that is our other teams that we are following on the day is going to be the lattes. It's always going to be the Viennas.
Feature.
Again, Viennas and espressos. And then our other feature will be the lattes. Next week, we'll jump in with the mochas. But the lattes here, as we're in with Team Type 1. Let's go ahead and get our images on screen. But it's they're cruising right along, it looks like here, as Team Type 1. And now we can see the diabetic and in the family. It's such a cool team, actually.
Yep. Yeah, for someone who, this team, Novo Nordisk or Team Type 1 or Team Type 2, they've been doing this for decades. It's tremendously inspiring, the lifestyle choices that you make. And again, with this phenomenon that we've had over the last few months, there have been plenty of people that got on Zwift for the first time and started making that dedication to their own health. And man, do I tip my cap to you. I think that's just awesome. If you're racing at this level, you've been doing it for a while, that's for sure. But so we've learned. D standing for our diabetic friends out here, and then F for family. And there you go. That just helps you figure out how they relate to the cause that they're riding for.
43:52
nice
at the last time check. They're currently at 47:42 from what I can see. I just want to double check here Are the Lancets going to get us? I mean, they're currently leading this category.
What's the record? Is that
Yeah.
looking
so
for? Yeah.
looking at a 102. I think they're going to whoop it. I think they're taking this down out here. I mean,
I
they're
would
about
agree.
to leave. Let's see here. They got to. Oh yeah. I think that this is in the bag. We'll have to wait and see. Dirty Rascals
They
too.
could
We'll see if they're
go
going to
under an hour. Yeah. So this is going to be fun to watch. Again, these records. This is one of the more popular courses that we've used over the 64 editions of WTRL. 3,300 racers out here today. But what we're seeing, it's gotten to the point, Nathan, where I'm pretty surprised when I don't see a long-standing record fall. Just the teams have gotten that much better. I mean, it's gone up a couple of levels. And there you go. 43.54, the fastest time there at that 30K check. 43 total kilometers of racing here on the 2 laps of sand and sequoias. GTCA hanging in there. Really
right
hanging in there, Nathan.
Yeah,
We got
right
ourselves a bike
heels,
race.
actually. Yeah, 6 seconds is all it is. So a little ways further.
Well, that's
out there,
basically nothing. That tells you these teams are going to be locking it down here over that final run to the finish. And it's still not
this
that far back to the
GTC
Spitfire.
rider has one that they dropped off. I have a feeling that the other riders may be up ahead of them. They started number 2 on the day. I'm just going to double check here. But yeah, GTC started number 2 on the day. So they're going to be finishing up any moment here, actually. I'm going to go ahead and move forward here. And I believe, and they've gotten a little bit disorganized, though. This is not what you want to see, as GTC are currently in first place out on the, so they started second. But they caught the Magpies, it looks like, the Cryogen Magpies, actually, and went by them. The Magpies here 22 seconds behind, trying to chase down the GTC crew. But GTC, this is the team that's battling with Lancets here at this point from T-Type 1. First and second place. Team TFC, they're on the heels just a little bit, it looks like there. And we'll see if TFC can bring this back.
It is. It's like being on a tightrope once you start losing your balance, right? Then you kind of overcorrect the other way, and then you overcorrect. And you can see that's happened a couple of times here. But you know what? Could be worse, no doubt. I think you're just going to try to get through this sector here, and we'll reorganize things. But you got to stall the beans, boys.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit of a kick over the top. Campbell's like, "Come on, let's get it going," and he'll be caught most likely with the super tuck that'll be on the back end here a little bit from the 3 riders on the chase. Young here struggling, it looks like, just a little bit to stay on terms. 173 beats per minute. Needs to really ramp it up and not lose that wheel, or they will not get this advantage. Look, the meters are opening up here. Needs a kick right now. 3.2 does just that. Yeah. He'll come flying right on through then. Good. And bring that speed to the front end. And GTC still battling now, it looks like, to try and take that spot back. 8 seconds the difference here at the 30K mark. Kirchner E-Cycling coming through only 2 seconds back in the lattes. Team TFC there at 44.10. So that spot was taken over there, it looks like, by Kirchner E-Cycling. ODZ now a solid 29 seconds back here from the 44-minute mark. So it looks like ODZ probably out of the picture, most likely, as it's 12K to the finish line. Well, I mean, 12K is some time. If they really, I mean, if you've got a lot left in the tank, you can really ramp things up in the last 12K.
Oh, yeah. You could see a lot change out there. Zwift is always known for saying fun is fast and it's smooth is going to be fast here, Nathan. When you're traveling over 50 kilometers per hour as they are through this sector here, you really want to keep it organized and take advantage of that momentum that we talk so much about. The gameplay element, getting that flow going, is going to be critical here. That's the difference, Nathan, between those 8 seconds out there, right? Whether you can roll this like a squad or this keeps happening. Gap, closing gap. You know what I'm saying? That, it's counter productive when this keeps happening out here. You just want to, the perfect term is just swarm down the hill.
Now we are seeing a lot of chatter coming through from Evo here. We're jumping back in with the Espresso boys. This is the finish of the Espressos here that we're looking at. We'll get their times up in just a second here, but I did see Evo with one of their team leaders here. I believe it was Ali Peckover with some everybody all in. Let's go. This is the last minute to the line, really asking this team to push through. Evo here, they were actually in last place at the last checkpoint, actually. We'll see what they can hang on to here. Extra Turbo Snails with a time of 39:11. So they were about, it looks like, 12 seconds off of ninth place. We'll see what they can hold on to here as they come on through here. They really got to ramp it up now, though.
12 seconds off of ninth, but if you look at it, they're not that much farther off of seventh, all the way down to 38.52. A really strong ride here can change things, really move you up our top 10. And again, these teams are going to be fighting to stay in the Premier League. Only the top 11 teams get to be in this exclusive group.
Yeah, we are seeing, the battle here between Evo, Ram Raiders, as well as EBG and Army Cycling. Army Cycling and EBG were timed at 38.52 at the last time check, actually. To the line here, this may matter for whether or not they're in the next Premier League.
Right around the bend.
Into those orange numbers. And then we're going to have Onyx here. They're looking to finish up as well. Onyx went out super hot, but they're holding on to a top 4 at the last time check.
Not bad at all. Yeah, you got to give these 4 credit. When this one is done and dusted out here, they dug deep. Only 4, and they stayed up in the top 4 teams. And this is no joke when you look at the Premier League. Some of the squads that they're beating have been rolling with 8 riders out here. So I would have to say this is what you call, well, unfortunately, at this point, they're starting to lose a man. So they'll, again, time off the 4th rider. He's probably right there. There you go. So they're just about home anyways, about another half K to go. It's just around this next bend here, or the next right-hand sweeper. You'll see the finish line.
Yeah, right just underneath this little... Chaplin, he's got to jump it up here right now because that 4th rider is where it matters. Onyx to the line, though, it looks like. Solid time. They'll still be within the top 5, I would think. EBG now finishing up. They've lost some riders as well. There's, oh, man, the suffering. The fellows is like, come on. Oh, just trying to hold on at the back here because he knows he's the last rider. 5.7 watts per kilogram, 173, just pinning that heart rate with everything he's got now up into 10 watts per kilogram. One last kick to the line for the espresso.
Good job there. That's what you call a fighter, bringing this thing home. So, Nathan, I want to take a look at these splits here because it's, again, it's starting to open up a little bit. TEP are defending champions. They're back at it with the 37.38, and that's going to have them 19 seconds ahead of Cryogen. The Vultures there in second. Let's see if things change. Nope, 37.59, so we'll go to 26 seconds, it looks like. Excuse me. 21 seconds to ODZ there as we're updating things. Onyx still holding on there at that 30K checkpoint, but these teams are all finishing now, so that's a moot point as we're going to be putting up their final times here up on the board, sort things out in the Premier League. This is Espresso, our top men's category. This team coming in full force.
Yeah, it
Ram
does look
Raiders
like Ram
here.
Raiders here. They are holding on to 9th place at the last time check here. So we'll have to wait and see if they're going to hold off the Evo Extra Turbo Snails as well as Army Cycling as they bring it home. It looks like Matte Blue. Cryogen, though, this is the Vultures. They were sitting in that 2nd place. Will they be able to bring back TEP or hold off Team ODZ? Has only a 2-second gap between them here. Dropping riders off at this point. They're letting Gringo go. It looks like, they only need 4 riders. It's just up and out of the saddle at this point. It's Kohler here. 9 watts per kilogram coming from him, and these last little seconds do absolutely matter. They've got to push all the way to the line. 190 beats per minute. They've lost their 4th rider, though. Fuller's got to come on through. It looks like, no, it's going to be Unger here that's got to come through, and 4th rider is going to be Unger. We'll see what the time comes through for that. Here comes race 3R across the line as well. Solid efforts here for 3R as it looks like a couple of the Cryogen boys who got dropped off early on. BRT with Martindale here leading things out, 489 watts as he looks to ramp things up to 48 kilometers per hour. ODZ, we're going to move our way back here. They have dropped quite a few off. It looks like ODZ said, nope, done for the climb. Let's see what we can get done. I think ODZ smashed that climb and dropped everybody that they didn't need. I think that's what happened here. I think Turner went to the front, just revved it up and said, hold on if you can, made sure that they had Cunningham, English, and Schwart, and now it's to the line with as many watts as they possibly can produce. I think ODZ are actually on a challenge here for the top spot after that last climb.
Yeah, they stripped this down to nothing but watts out here. ODZ and Turner, one of the top riders on the planet right now. So let's see what this team is going to do. It's going to be a big look at this time, Nathan. They're going to shatter that record. They're just about home already. So, well, actually, it's going to be closer than maybe I'm anticipating. I thought they were a little bit closer than they are, but they're inside of 2K to go. Oh, yeah, they're going to shatter the record, no doubt. Looks like we're going to reset a lot of things out here. The real question is, do they get up and over the time from the Vultures and TEP? Both of those teams, Nathan, are pretty far back, as this team had a low seed coming in. So they're going to be a top team finishing early. We're going to have to wait a few minutes before we know how they actually did in relation to the rest of their category.
And I'm seeing here Cryogens with the 53.44. 53.44, I believe, is what we've had for, and Volendam still holding down, it looks like, the time. So 53.27 is what we were looking at. So they're really, I mean, Volendam, though, that Dutch team, they were flying the last time we were out here with Pio Auto and a few of the others. Look at how it's so cool how we have like this rotation too of teams as they come on through. So very cool to see the rotation of different teams starting to dominate out here. TEP, though, definitely the team to beat. ODZ trying to make it to the line with the fastest time still. We'll jump back in with the rest of the groups in just a moment, everybody. Latte is still out on course. We'll find them. We still have quite a few from Latte finishing up at this point. We'll jump in with the Magpies as well as Team Type 1 and a few others. BRT still out there with Latte, with a lot of them finishing up. Vienna's still out on course as well, and we'll definitely be jumping in with them as they finish up their race. Espresso is going to be the first across the line. We'll finish up with the rest of them and then get in with the other categories. So we got Turner leading things out, ODZ, Cunningham, English, and then Schwart as they catch, it looks like a sole BRT rider who got dropped off before they hit the line. Turner he's just turning on the front. He's just turning the watts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you got to look, this is 53 and a half minutes into a massive effort out here. These guys look really well collected for a team of four coming in. This is how you do it. So, all right, ODZ, Nathan, they're not going to break the record out here, but they certainly put in a solid ride on sand and sequoias today, as this one is just about done and dusted. Well done, guys. Now, let's see is this one going to be enough? It very well could be. You never know what has happened out here. These guys look like they had a really solid last run into the finish as we pick up James Bevan. Army Cycling here. Same scenario. Four riders coming in hot, Nathan.
But look at TEP. TEP on their heels here right now, and Halonen here leading things out, but it's going to be the last ride, the fourth rider here. They've actually held on to quite a bit of their team, actually. They did not drop too many off, so interesting to see. We'll see if they hold on to that top spot as they come across the line. That's going to be all of our espressos finished on the day. We'll start getting our results in as they do come on through. Let's go ahead and jump back in with the lattes, though, as they're finishing up, and then we'll jump in with the Viennas as they finish up their race as well.
Well, all right. The 64th edition of the World Tactical Racing League is just about coming to fruition here, as this is going to be the BRT squad coming in. Looks like 5 riders together, all tronned out. That looks pretty cool.
All like rainbowed. They got the colors of the rainbow.
Oh, there's
two greens here, but it is a good look as they're coming on through, chasing down. It looks like the Team Type 1 just ahead of them. Interesting to see. And Team Type 1, I think Team Type 1 caught them. I'm assuming here is BRT Chasers. We're at a 45.04. We're seeing tied with the Cryogen Magpies, actually, and just behind the Ospreys for Cryogen. So Magpies went out super hot. They were in the first place, actually, the first time through, but have fallen backwards. As we said, out on those flats, you can get a little bit too excited early on. And it's really that KOM with the sand and sequoias that seem to be making the difference out here and how you climb that. Let's look like one rider here just falling off. It's going to be Alan saying enough is enough. All you need is
no
4.
problem.
Go ahead on, boys.
Yeah, exactly. When you're the 5th, you have that luxury as you try to, in the world of these team time trial efforts, everyone tries to do as much as they possibly can. So make one last effort if you can, and then watch and see what the team's time is going to be, because you're certainly a part of that overall effort, the collective, if you will. So these guys down to about a couple hundred meters, the pitch of a football field, and they'll be across the line just under that cool arch.
Was 9 seconds was the difference. We'll see if they were able to pull that back. BRT Chasers, they were fighting it out, though, still, it looked like, with the Magpies. We'll see how that ends up playing out as it's going to be the Ospreys. This is the Ospreys. They were sitting in 6th place at the last time check And, it's still a really close race, though. The Lancet's there with 43.52. The difference only about 35 seconds or so between 6th and 1st place. So still some opportunity here to bring things back. The Team ODZ, 5th and 1st place. I think the Cryogens maybe a little ways out. They're just holding on, it looks like, against their Magpies there, as well as the BRT Chasers. We're seeing Red Peloton
Still, as you say,
Kirchner Recycling.
It's encouraging, though, when you're within that range. You know that your team is got the potential to end up on the top step in this category. You're within striking distance, let's say. So as we bring the Cryogen Ospreys, we joked about it last week, but the Cryogen movement is just absolutely amazing. Nathan, any idea where that all centered out of, the home of Cryogen, or is it another one of those it's in the cloud kind of things? Because that... they must have a couple hundred people participating under the Cryogen banner.
That's a great question, actually.
Never figured that one out.
I think
it's not American.
Tim Burns,
or is it?
Actually, is coming to mind, actually, and that's quite a few years back, actually.
We'll figure this out.
This is one of the original. They used to run, help run the World Teams. Worlds each year as well. That was happening in October on Zwift. So we definitely had some broadcasts very early on alongside of that. I'm gonna have to get some more information on that. I don't think Tam is hanging out in the Zwift community any longer. But I would see if I believe Cryogen and a few others alongside of Tam helped start things up.
So I learned a lot this week. R and K is Rowe and King. Now, Danny King, Luke Rowe, Matt Rowe, and Courtney Rowe. So the Rowe family, along with there's a lot of different ways you can break this one down. But what you're looking at is some of the real hierarchy.
Legendary family and marriage that happened there
by marriage
as well.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
So
Matt's
actually been on with us doing some workouts early on in ZCL as well. And then launched off over into the
Matt's
podcast with Zwift.
And Matt's brother Luke rides for Ineos. It's just a really cool set. And Danny King is an absolute legend. So that they have a coaching group. And so I remember when I was joking, didn't I say that R&K, Rowe and King sounds like a 2000 thread coat sheet company out of London? Something like the world's best, something like that. Well, it's a coaching group, and now we have the answers for you. So that's my contribution for the week, Nathan.
Yeah, and Rowan King, Danny, also one of the commentators on Zwift Community Live as well as Zwift Live now. It was really great to see that what they're doing afterwards, after their cycling careers, pretty awesome. And definitely a huge presence in the coaching out on Zwift and the workout scene. So definitely check them out as Rowan King coming across the line. They've got a lot of different representation, actually, across all the categories for their teams out here. It's always cool to see. Very definitely a UK-based a lot of times. But we do see it going cross-pollinating to a couple other countries as well, as we see TFC now in the Latte group, looking to hold down that fourth place overall at 44.10 was the last time checked, chasing down Kirchner. E-Cycling has really ramped things up, actually, in the latter half of this with that third place currently. We'll have to see what, as they finish up here, what's going to happen with this top five.
Yeah, absolutely. They certainly have found another level here for the finale, and that's a sign of a strong team, isn't it? When you start seeing the best splits coming in the back half of the races. We're going to be bringing home now. Let's see here. We're waiting for our latte times to start populating as we're bringing our first teams across the line in that category. Our feature category here today, along with the Vienna and Espresso. There we go. All right. So again, Socks for Watts. This team is the standard, no doubt about it. We're going to jump in with Charlotte Backus. It just looks so good, don't they, Nathan? I mean, putting on a clinic.
Minute and a half. But Team Sisu have found an extra gear this week. They were struggling, it felt like, a little bit last week. This week, they are definitely challenging the new Sox for Watts Aero Unicorn team. So Sox for Watts trying to throw down a 1-2. They may have to settle for podium, but they still have Cryogen Swans right on their heels there at 43.08. So lots of time still to come in as you can see. And Z Sun there a little ways off, so I think the battle really is before the top 4 at this point, but I think the first place has walked away, so really the battle is second, third, and fourth place. Those last 2 podium spots still up for grabs.
We were talking about social media. Lizzie Duncombe in this team, rider out of London, former rower. She's got an amazing background. But one of the things I really picked up on, Nathan, with all of the women on this team, but Lizzie is the perfect example of the motivation that they bring to others, and by keeping things fun out there. Because when you start to, as a non-triathlete, when you realize how much dedication it takes to be, competitive in the sport of triathlon, it really means 3 different sports that you have to master and stay on top of. And there's another name to talk about, Rachel. I mean, Nathan, we made it all the way through an hour of this broadcast, and we haven't brought up Rachel Elliott. And this is another
Velo. Now, this is a new team, actually, that her and Glenn Knight launched as of recently. Pretty cool to see them using the new kit in game, actually. So UK-based team, and they're putting together lots of events in real life as well. It looks like I saw a post about some sort of new record set as well that Glenn was talking about. So cool to see as they cross the line. We'll get their times coming on in just a moment. We are seeing the other unicorns finishing up. And just actually, it looks like Taylor perhaps was one of the riders that was dropped off, so we'll be jumping in with the rest of them in just a moment, as I believe that is going to be most of the riders actually crossed the line already.
Looks like we're there.
I think we're pretty much there. There might be a couple more coming in. Cyrus is still out on course, excuse me.
Oh.
As looks like Team Cyrus with Christy Tracy, Tranter Walls, as well as Caroline Murray, all in here. Christy Tracy really pressing her team, it looks like. Look at her off the front a little bit. Murray raced yesterday as well. Christy Tracy with that attack yesterday. That attack yesterday was amazing. So,
Nathan, I saw her doing her own webcast later in the day. Christy raced 3 times yesterday. They do the driveway series down in Austin virtually now. This woman has an amazing appetite for racing. Nobody works harder than Christy Tracy, that's for sure. So let's see what they've got going here. What are they cooking up for us?
Yeah, Christy Tracy.
Couple K to go here. UK.
Struggling a little bit, though, today. 8th place, 44.51. So some
Caroline
time to make
Murray
up here. Last one left on the course. I wonder if perhaps, you've raced day in and day out. I was in this spot last week on Wednesday holding on to one of my buddy's wheels thinking, I don't want to ride my bike anymore. I'm done. And I wonder, but Christy's on the front, though. She's pulling. So perhaps maybe just... got a little bit disorganized, only 4 riders as well, but good to see them here. Tranter hanging on the back here, trying to get that last rider across the line. It looks like it's Tranter maybe trying to recoup some energy at this point, and we'll see if she can pull on through at the end here. Definitely up against some heavy hitters, though, with Caroline Murray as well as Christy Tracy, with those obviously high-level drops spent in the garage there with Caroline Murray and Tracy on those fast bikes, as you can see.
Yeah, 2 of the most experienced riders that we have out in the world of Zwift. So this team going to be bringing it on home. I want to give a shout out to Alice Lethbridge as well, working hard on that Socks for Watts team. I mean, you could do a highlight of each one of those riders each week, as it looks like, again, they're going to take the crown. So week 64 wrapping up here on Sand and Sequoias. Thank you for joining us, folks. It's so cool to see how many people are enjoying this format as we watch this team, another one of the A squads. Nathan, I would say when you talk about the teams out there, this is one of them that has been so impressive month in, month out.
Tranter struggling a little bit. Needs to get back on terms. Tracy, I think, saying, come on. Pushing to 5.5, really wanting to ramp things up. I think Tranter, though, maybe in full bonk mode at this point, looking to try and grab back onto the wheels, but that 2 seconds is almost impossible to close down. This is precious seconds to hold on to the Premier League at this point. 44.50 was the time through. They may be losing out the seconds that they need at this point to hold on. Celtic Queens, Total Try Training, and I don't know what's going on in the other zones yet just so far. I mean, if I take a look at the Viennas for the other zones, we've got some pretty fast times across all of the other zones here. Story Racing, I'm going to give a shout out real quick, 103.54 for them, and that is actually a better time than the Celtic Queens or Total Try Training here. They need to beat out Total Try Training Tranter needs to get to the line as quickly as she possibly can. Take a look at this real quickly here. I'm going to put it across the screen here. As you can see, they've got to come in before that 104.54 is the cutoff at this point with total try trading from what we can see between all of the zones. All PL except for Story Racing right now, as you can see. So we'll have to see how this plays out here. Team Sisu made it, obviously. That's your top 3 so far. Sox Watts doubling up on the podium, but they're at a risk right now. Getting this 4th rider across the line, Tranter's got to give everything she has through this section of the course.
Is 2nd and 3rd are tied to the 100th of a second? Is that right?
That right? No way.
That's what I just saw, although I've made mistakes
that would be
before.
Insane,
but I can't even imagine that that's possible. But I mean, yeah, it's possible. Anything's possible, right? But think about this for a second.
That is real over an hour
that's what they're
and 1
saying.
second?
The 100th of a second. After 43K. With everything that we've thrown at these riders, this is absolutely bonkers. Wow. So, hey, I think, Nathan, that we're going to have a chance to talk with some of the Sox for Watts riders after the race. I'm really excited about that. This is one of, I don't care what, I don't know, I'm talking about the world of sport. This team has become absolute inspiration out there as we watch the world of WTRL grow. Well, here's a great reference point for everyone. If you want to know how to do it right, get motivated, get stoked, find some women who are looking to go to another level with you, and look for people who want to make the same commitment that you do. And because that's a big part of this. You know, you got to show up. We talked about that earlier in the show. But Nathan, what a day. We're confirming our results. Looks like everything is good.
Yeah, we'll get the results in, and I do have, it looks like, at least 3 Sox for Watts women on board, I believe. I'll bring them in as soon as we possibly can, ladies. We do see you, ladies. Just give us a second. We're going to go through some of the results, and we'll jump in with the Sox for Watts in just a moment here. But as we have finished up out on course here, let's go ahead and take a look at how things played out on the day. It does look like, let's go ahead and use this nice little Fuego Flats Oasis here for our results here today. But it's going to
go dip your legs in that, ladies, while you wait here. 59 flat for Sox for Watts today. Another command performance being delivered. Sisu Nathan gets up there, 101.16. However, the Aero Unicorns in their debut in the Premier League. 101.16. Are you kidding me? We've got a tie for second place. I've never seen that. So Sisu and the Unicorns deadlocked there for second. And it'll put into 4th place then Cryogen the Swans. And look how close they were. I mean, that is absolutely bananas. So it isn't to the 100ths, though, I'm realizing. It's to the 2nd that we're talking about. But either way, absolutely amazing. So Swans, then Hypernova, the Z-Sun R team in 5th with a 102.30. The Flying Tortoises in at 6th. Cryogen Wrens 7th. Story Racing not in this. So they're not Premier League. That was in Zone 2. That they did a 103.54. We'll see. I think it might be good enough to get them into Premier League for next week. 65. The Celtic Queens. All right, ladies, good job. They only raced with 5 out there today, and they fought their hearts out. So good work to the Celtic Queens out of Ireland. And that leaves Total Try Training Women, the TTT squad, finishing in 10th out here. Or, well, the 10th fastest time, I should say.
Is that going to mean that? Does that actually mean that? So I'm wondering, Martin can help us out here with the Infinite Saurus team. Maybe in that last few K, the struggle was real.
I'm not sure what would have happened there, to tell you the truth, because they weren't
well, it was
struggling
across
that
the line.
much.
So, man, that's a tough day. It looks like for Infinite Saurus here. We'll see if Story Racing takes that spot and accepts their next week. So we might see Story Racing here in the Premier League. As the Zone 2 is not that far off of our timing here. Off to Espresso's Dave. We'll throw it over to you. PTZ actually is going to be TEP, I believe.
Yeah, you got it. TEP. Nice job, Nathan. Clearly you don't have dyslexia.
And I'll throw it over to you, Dave, as we're getting set up with.
Oh, great. Oh, thanks, Nathan. Sorry there. Yeah, so as we said, TEP taking the win for the second week in a row to 53.39. Cryogen, the Vultures, they made it close, folks. Just a little under 5.5 seconds back there for second. Team ODZ ending up in third. In fourth place, it's the Brat Pack. Race 3R Venga Boys in fifth, EBG in sixth, the Ram Raiders in seventh. Then you can see Army Cycling in eighth today. Onyx Black, we watched that ride all the way along. 4 riders, and they're going to end up in ninth with the 55.43. That's really respectable when you put all of the variables in play in your mind. Great job. And then that leaves the extra turbo snails, much faster than just your garden variety turbo snails, in 10th. So there we go as we wrap things up now for the espresso category. Move to the frappes now, and race 3R Fleetwood Mac is back in the driver's seat. And look at that. Look how close this one was. As second place, 57.57 there for Evo Vortex 1 in second. VHQ, the Ravens, ending up in third, is DBR2 in fourth. INC Alien Express in fifth. The Rowan King Gazelles in sixth today. Good racing out there. Race 3R Bucks Fizz into seventh. It's the Cops in eighth. Cryogen, the Falcons, and the Eagles rounding out our top 10 out there in the frappe category. Nice to get a chance to feature the frappes out here today.
Lattes.
We'll move into the lattes. You want to take it, Nathan?
Yeah, so Lattes, Team Type 1 Lancets, we saw them out on course. Nice job to them out there today, as they were definitely featured. And then it was the Team TFC Spitfires, Kirchmer E-Cycling, followed up by GTCA, ODZ, Cryogen Ospreys, and then BRT Chasers, Evo Peaky Blinders, and then CBDE. Cryogen Magpies went out hot and then ended up out in 10th place. We'll see if they can hold on to that spot throughout the day. And then it's going to be the Mochas. I'll throw it to you, Dave, as it does look like we've got some of the ladies coming on in.
Great. Let me run through these then for you. It's 1:08:20 the time. It was a long day out there. 43K on Sand and Sequoias. Congratulations to Team TFC Hurricane taking the win. Team Eat Dirt Trois ending up in second. Dirty Watts 3 in third. Valhalla Jalenhorn. I'll go with 109.48. I need to work on my Norwegian. I'll spend some time in Oslo. And in fifth, it's going to be Newbury Velo Falcons at 110.18. Then we'll round out our top 10 for you for our mochas here with Engulf in sixth, Los Ketchup in seventh, the GC Scrambled Legs in eighth, NZG Padawans in ninth, and then Team Type 1 Hypers in 10th. So that wraps up our mocha category for you there, and wraps up our look at all of our different categories that raced in round 64. Martin and Steven at WTRL are two amazing people. They work really, really hard. And I say thank you to them for keeping this going. And we have a lot to look forward to as we continue to welcome more folks out here racing, new teams every week. As we've noted, we're seeing a real changing of the guard. But one thing that hasn't changed, Nathan, is what they're doing at Sox for Watts. It's a worldwide phenomenon at this point.
Let's go ahead and
some of the
we can jump in with them here real quick. I believe we've got everybody on call. As I've got it doubled up on. Hold on.
This could be the most energetic Zoom call
we'll
of my
see,
life.
We'll see if we got everybody. A couple of them, I think their internets are coming through a little bit of struggle bus here with a couple of them here. But I do have Charlotte. It looks like we've got Rachel. Rachel's pausing on and off. It looks like a little bit here. As a couple of the riders, I don't have, as well as Claire Good in the lower right. Also, we had another one of the Sox Watts ladies here, and who's in our lower right?
Lizzie Duncombe.
Is that no? I don't think that's Lizzie. Lizzie's got red hair. So, girls, how's it going? Nice race out there today. You guys absolutely dominated Charlotte and Claire. I mean, definitely walked away. Were you concerned though that the new Aero Unicorns were going to take you down?
Well,
go ahead, Charlotte. No. Go ahead, Charlotte. All you, Charlotte. Go ahead.
No, we've been talking with them, and we're working on developing like another team. It's not necessarily the fact that we were afraid that they would conquer us. We just want to beat our new course record. Because now, since we've done this course before, it's nice to have like our own record to beat. So I think our goal was that today.
Did you guys end up beating? I'm going to take a look here real quick. Did you end up taking it down? It looks like you did. 59 flat is the new course record, so it looks like it did happen out there. What's the real quickly? I want to ask a question about what's the environment like? Are you in Discord communicating the entire time? Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. We sure
Pretty
are.
much the whole time.
What kind of communication is actually going on for those of us that don't have a chance to hear it? Is it short and sweet? I can't imagine that people aren't going on and on about things, but what kind of direction are you getting or giving? Can you give us an example of what we might hear if we listened in?
We say when we want to come through to the front, and it's pretty organised at the start, but towards the end it's just a lot of heavy breathing and crying.
So, Claire, do you ever? So that's Claire Good that we're talking to right now. Claire, I'd love to know what's the hardest part of the race for you. Is it the start? Do you find a rhythm out there? Is it the last K? Where do you find, if you look at your perceived effort, where do you suffer the most during an hour effort like today?
It depends on the course. Today I find the rollers are where I suffer the most because I just can't hang on. I don't weigh enough for that. We usually start pretty strong and we stick together pretty well on that, and then we build it up towards the end. So that final kilometre is usually where I drop off and everyone else goes full ramp.
Charlotte, I wanted to commend you as far as the effort that you've been making with this has been really fun to watch. Now, when you are out there racing, let me turn the table on you. Yeah, of course, you are awesome. When we see this happening in the WTRL, when you go into a race, are you targeting goals like setting a new course record? How do you like to manage each week?
It depends on the race, but like for these time trials, my goal is to put as much effort as I can for the team and make the strongest pulls as I can and the longest ones as I can and cover as much as I can. And I think with that, it leads to a goal of breaking records and having the fastest time on courses. But I really have a goal of just working for the team and being a part of the team and being there to pull someone back if they get dropped or be at the front to lead for a few seconds, even if it's all I've got. Yeah, that's more of my goal is to be with the team and for the team.
How much has having done in real life team time trials, as I'm guessing you did plenty of them with Fort Lewis College in your time racing collegiately, how much of that knowledge were you able to take over to? So having done in real life team time trials, how much of that knowledge were you able to bring over to racing on WTRL?
So much. A lot of collegiate racing helped for me with the team time trials, and it's more of like a team effort that is put forth that really matters, and being very communicative. That's why I love Discord, being able to talk to each other and say, hey, I'm off, or okay, Charlotte coming through, and or in the next minute, who's gonna pull. So I think collegiate racing really helped make me vocal, but I think also this in itself, practicing week in, week out, has really helped me too.
Was there
Nathan, it looks like we're being joined.
Question. Yeah, so we have Rachel Elliott also jumped in with us here in the lower right here as well. So thanks a lot, Rachel. Looks like we got everybody connected. And I want to ask Rachel a question because I saw you in the first rendition of this Socks for Watts team. Was this who is the instigators amongst this to create this team? Because we called this the scrappy kind of put together all the super teams of esports and Zwift to make this Socks for Watts team. So were you part of that leadership, or I mean, you've been on Zwift for probably the longest amongst all the ladies here. I'm assuming that's an assumption, and I think there's probably some leadership role that you played amongst the team, if I'm not incorrect.
I actually joined. No, I wasn't one of the instigators. It was instigated by Socks for Watts themselves, as I understand. And I was looking for a team time trial team, and my friend Alice.
Well,
who's
you're a
on my
good
real
pickup.
life-
That's quite the pickup, I
Yeah,
would think.
well, I said to my friend Alice, who's obviously riding on the team, we ride in the same team for time trialing in real life. I'm dragged to zero. I said I fancied having a go, and she just invited me on the team, and we all work really well together. I think we all assume leadership roles. I sometimes feel a bit like mother hen. I'm the old bird of the team, so I end up shouting instructions quite a lot when we're racing on Discord, and some days I feel really good. I felt really, really good today, so I was probably absolutely punishing everyone. But this is a brilliant group of girls. I look forward to this race so much every week. It's not something to get stressed by.
Looks like Lindsay just kicked Rachel from the call there. That's okay, though. Lindsay Duncombe's on board now, though, so we'll keep on getting everybody jumping in. Can I get one of you to tell us a little bit about just a couple more questions, and then we're going to let you guys go. But one of us tell us about what the tactics were on San Sequoia specifically, because you seem to have dialed this in.
Was that a question to me? Sorry, I just cut out.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
The tactics for today were, get the most aero bike you can, take long turns on the flats, and then push and push and push on the climbs. But we're always very, very careful not to go too hard. We know exactly what's the kilogram we can push behind, so it can go 1 watt per kilogram less and still draft those climbs. So we go in and we analyse pretty carefully exactly what we have to do. But often plans just go out the window when you're racing, and some days you feel really good. I felt really good today. I felt absolutely terrible last week. So it's about knowing what everyone can do, and if you feel good, do a bit more. If you don't, if it's just not your week, there's other girls there who can help. So we all work really well, and it's an absolute joy to ride together.
We are missing audio from a couple of you, just so you know. Claire, we do have audio from you as well as Charlotte still, just so you guys, just so the two of you know. You guys, I want to just say thank you so much for jumping in with us here. We'll figure out some more of the calls afterwards, and we'll get some more interviews. Maybe next week from you. But guys, great job on breaking the course record. Amazing result out there today, Sox for Watts, and it's good to see.
Thank you.
Grabbing another team out there to challenge you a little bit, and it looks like Sisu's on your heels, so watch out for next week, ladies. It looks like they're coming.
Yeah, thank you both. We absolutely love you both. We absolutely love you.
We really do.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Have a
great day. Great job this week, guys, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thank you.
All right, that's the Sox for Watts team. Great to have an interview with them, Dave.
Yeah, I think that was Alice Lethbridge that was also joining us there. Another one of the cornerstones of that team.
Yeah.
Right.
Alice Lethbridge
Sorry
in the top
there.
left there. Apologies on not getting all the names and the titles right off the bat there, but it's also great to get some faces to everything.
Absolutely. And you know what? We'll work on that because getting to know these riders is really important. Nathan, that was super cool. Again, always trying to add new wrinkles here. That team has defined what WTRL is all about. When someone asked, I wanted to ask the ladies, there's nothing quite like a team time trial. That's for sure, Nathan. We've learned a lot, but don't you just feel that synergy that squad has? I mean, it's a bunch of different, Charlotte is a pretty young, she just graduated from Fort Lewis last year. Rachel Elliott is obviously in a different phase of her life and is looking to become, I believe, a Paralympian. That's an effort that's underway.
It would definitely be within her tool belt, I would say. So
absolutely, it's just awesome. So thanks a lot, Nathan.
Out there, one of the strongest riders out there by far. So that's gonna be it for us. Number 64 is in the books for the Premier League. Still some zones to go though throughout the day. We'll see if the times hold out as the results come in throughout the day. We will be on for number 65. though next week. Lindsay, I do see you. Thank you for jumping in still, Lindsay. But but the interviews are done for the day. We'll catch you next week, Lizzie. You know how to connect now, so we'll catch you next week. Lizzie Duncombe was jumping into the broadcast productions in the background. I just saw her there. Always good to see the efforts that are put in. Number 65 is on Greater London Flat next week for 2 laps. We'll be live next week, same time, same place as usual. Registration closes, don't forget, 7 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday. Closes on Wednesday, 7 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Central Time, Wednesday. Next thing on ZCL is going to be, I believe Koa Boys got something tonight, and then we've got tomorrow, the NRS Australian National Road Series is finishing up their series here on Zwift Community Live. And then on Sunday, you've got a CRCA race that was a part of the New York City races that have been canceled. That's going to be great. We did the Dave Jordan, and now we've got another one coming up on Sunday. We'll be scheduling that, so be on the watch out for that. And then we start all over again next week. Some things coming down the pipelines. Just I want to make a couple of announcements. Test Labs, it looks to be coming back. Be on the watch out for an announcement about Test Labs. That is testing out features that are in Zwift that are new to the community that they can check out and be a part of a broadcast with, so that we can get communication out there about some of the new features, as well as testing out some different ways to do the drafts and stuff like that out on Zwift. So definitely a cool thing. And what else is happening? USA Cycling Series is going on, obviously, so we'll be back next week for that. Dave, thanks as always. Great time out here in WTRL number 64, 65 next week. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and ride on.